So let's close things out here with the Browns and the Steelers. This is our final game on Sunday. This is now sitting 6 across the board. I guess there is 5.5 at FanDuel. One thing that we do know is these teams played last week. The Browns went off as 10-point favorites. Of course, Big Ben sat, Watt sat, Hayward sat. Mason Rudolph played quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. The Browns win the game. The rest is kind of history. Kevin Stefanski will not be coaching in this game due to COVID issues. And so with that, we are now sitting at this line that has moved from where it was sitting at 4.5 to where it is now at 5.5 or 6, a total of 47.5. So, Brad, let's start here with you on this one. And let's talk about the line move because of the Stefanski news. Do you feel that the line moved enough, or do you think it moved too much because Stefanski's not going to be on the sidelines?
This is uncharted territory, essentially, isn't it? I mean, maybe the Lions, we saw that game where they had no offensive coaches. I think the head coach was out as well against the Bucks, and I think they lost 50-7 or something. So that's the only data point we have to go on, which isn't promising. So it's moved maybe 2.5 points, but that includes Joel Bitonio, doesn't it, as well, the guard who's out. I think I would probably prefer the Steelers side at the current number, especially at 5.5, because I do feel like the Browns' success is driven by Stefanski and the offensive line, and both of those things are being hampered, right? It's not Baker Mayfield's like Mitch again. You know, he's if he's in the right scheme against the right opponent, he can look good. But this is not the right. So the scheme's going to be hampered because the head coach, the play caller, is not there, and then the offensive line is up against its kryptonite in good pressure up the middle without a good guard, and then good pressure from TJ Watt on the right side. So I don't think it's going to go that well for the Browns offense. I assume Stefanski can phone in his script this week. They can get their first 15, 20 plays and they might look good, but what happens when it's the second half and they've got to adjust to the pass rush, and they've burnt all their good plays, and what I don't really know what happens then. I think it probably starts to go badly for Baker.
So, full disclosure, Brett, I like the Steelers before all this other news. I took them at 4. I took them at 4.5. You and I had a little preview on Monday about this. I took them at 4. I took them at 4.5. Then this news came out. I feel like a genius. At least I have a couple of points of value here with all of that. So one of the things that we know about this Browns team is this defense allowed 315 passing yards to Mason Rudolph last week in a must-win game for them to get into the playoffs. And Mason Rudolph was able to go for 315. We watched Mason Rudolph under center last year, and we saw how terrible he is at playing quarterback in the NFL. He was able to go for 315 and make this Browns defense look pedestrian average at best. Now, I know Ben Roethlisberger has not been incredibly efficient this year. I know he's not been incredibly sharp this year. I know this offense has been clunky at times. That said, what they have done over the last, it's only 8 quarters, but I mean, over the last 8 quarters is kind of figured out some certain things about how they can at least maximize what is a clunky offense or has not, maximize what's been working for them and get rid of the stuff that has not. Been throwing the ball downfield a little bit more the last couple of games as well, which he should have been doing all along. What's the point in having a guy like Chase Claypool if you're not using him? So, I think they're getting back to some of the things they were doing a little bit earlier in the season where it didn't look as bad for this team. I liked it at 4, liked it at 4.5. I think even at 6, it's playable. The 6 is become more of a key number these days with, going for 2 and the missed extra points and all the things like that. I would prefer a 5.5. Like we said, it's available at FanDuel if you're able to bet there, which you should be able to bet there because you can just go to lines and sign up for an account there. So you should do that. But I still like it, man. I still like it. And I don't know if it moved good enough. I don't know if it moved enough considering not only is the head coach not going to be out there, He's the guy that calls the plays. He's also the play caller. You're missing two coaches in one in this situation.
And they haven't practiced. They've not been in the facility yet this week. Which seems bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the moment I've been waiting for. To fade this fraud Cleveland team in the playoffs, and now we get them without their head coach and play caller. I mean, this is beautiful. Even at 6, I love this for Cleveland. I missed out on my opportunity to get them earlier in the week because I don't have mobile betting. Whatever. I'm happy you were able to, Matt. That's great. Obviously, you got to be feeling good about that. Cleveland doesn't belong in the playoffs. And it's not just because of the expanded playoff structure. I think Miami was far more deserving to get into the playoffs. I mean, look at this body of work for Cleveland this year. They're 16th in point differential despite playing the third easiest schedule in the league. They have the worst point differential of the 14 teams left in the playoffs, the worse than Washington. That makes them a prime fade candidate in the postseason against a team that already wiped the floor with them once this season, nearly pulled off the unthinkable upset last week with their second unit against a team, like you said, in a must-win situation. And this is a run-first offense without its head coach and play caller facing the league's best defense. Without Joel Bitonio, that's a huge loss up front against an elite Steelers pass rush. Honestly, I think this should be 7, maybe even more. I think the Steelers are going to roll here. I think this Cleveland team is completely done.
Brad, you know what they say, that if you're in a must-win situation, you must not be very good. And so that is what we found with the Browns last week. And, they nearly blew it. And it was just one of those deals where if it had been the Steelers' full-strength team, you think that they certainly would not have gotten in there. When we take a look at this from if we wanted to make a case for the Browns and we wanted to make a case for the 6 here, it would have to be right that they just were able to find some sort of miraculous run game, because they want to run the game, run the ball as it is anyway. They have the two-headed monster there in Chubb and Hunt. Despite the fact Pittsburgh's defense is a top 5 defense against the run in the league, I mean, it wouldn't the only path here for Cleveland be the fact that they were able to just somehow run all over this Steelers team? Because I don't think we see Baker going crazy for like 330 in this one, do we?
No, not at all. The way they win, they get explosive runs in the run game from Nick Chubb, like they did last week, a 50-yarder, a couple of 50-yarders they probably need. And then Myles Garrett strip sacks Roethlisberger a couple of times. That's how it happens. But I think Roethlisberger with the rest, I think that's another huge edge. You remember the first game against Cincinnati, he missed the week of practice because he had COVID concerns, and he came out through for 300. They scored 30 plus, and he spoke about how live his arm felt. And now he's got that rest again. They, as you said, they were throwing deep downfield against the Colts, and letting Claypool and Deontay Johnson go, and that is where you can get the Browns. So. The Browns do have a path to win. Everyone in every game has a path to win, but I think the Steelers match up very nicely.
47.5, guys. I kind of lean towards the under here as well. I don't think the Browns score a ton of points in this game. I don't think the Browns score very many points here. And the Steelers, while I think they have success for sure, I don't know if they are just going to completely light up the scoreboard. I don't think that just, over the last 3 weeks they figured out how to beat the Chiefs or anything. And so I actually have a decent little lean towards the under in this one. Brett, what say you?
I'm with you. You're looking at one team that has been pretty atrocious on offense the entire season in Pittsburgh, 22nd offense DVOA, 29th PFF offense, and the other team that doesn't have its play caller on the sidelines. So I'm with you. I'm on the under here too. I think the Steelers. I like the Steelers to run this one up, but I don't think Cleveland's going to score more than 14 points in this game. So I do like the under quite a bit.
And Brad, the other reason I lean towards the under here, and this is just one of those, okay, I'm trying to read the tea leaves and more of a gut feeling type thing, I guess, but if you're out there and you're the interim coach, it seems like you probably err on the side of caution. Like, you're not going to come out there and turn this into a freaking run and gun spread offense, crazy, things that are going it seems like you err on the side of caution, especially when kind of what you do best is the whole Chubb Hunt show or something like that. So kind of leads me towards the under here on 47.5.
Yeah, I like your angle. It's kind of the don't get fired for buying IBM kind of thing. Just run the ball 40 times with Chubb and Hunt, and you're probably not getting fired. My concern, so the reason I wouldn't bet the under is I do think the Steelers might light them up.
I like it.
The Browns, they've had one of the easiest schedules. We've gone over this before. Easiest schedules of opposing offenses. 3 games aided by wind. And they're still like a bottom 10 defense. And they, as you said, Mason Rudolph lit them up for 8.1 yards per attempt last week. So I think a healthy Ben, a refreshed Ben with these weapons throwing downfield, I'm going to have some Steelers stacks in DFS because I can see them going. The team total is about 27.5. I think they're going over that personally. So if you want to go under, I would perhaps stick to the Browns under. But it's whatever you want, I suppose.
And, a final thought here for the people that do play teasers. This is sitting at 6 right now, so it's kind of moved into that teaser territory again. So if you do like that Bills leg, getting the Bills down to a half a point, if you do like that Bucks leg, getting them down to 2.5 or something like that, I don't hate pairing that up here with the Steelers either and getting them to just a pick. It would shock me if they did not win this game.
Don't bet at Steelers tiers. This is where you bet Steelers alternate line as high as it goes.
Oh, I'm just saying if you wanted to open one with the Bills or you wanted to open one with the Bucks, like I think this is as good a way to close it as possible. I see very few paths to victory here for this Browns team. So again, just throwing that out there for the people that like to play those.
Steelers minus 17 is plus 420.
There you go. Steelers minus 17 is Brett's official pick on this one. Guys, as always, thanks for being here with us. We're going to continue this throughout all the way through the Super Bowl. You can find all the written breakdowns at thelines.com, at playpicks.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, thanks so much for that. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up as well, and let us know in the comment section how you're going to play the games this week. Did we miss any angles? If you have any questions, we'll try to answer those as well. If you want to follow Brett, you can follow him at Brett Colson. If you want to follow Brad, at Brad Allen NFL. If you want to follow me, at Matt Brown M2. Thanks for being with us. We'll come back on Monday, wrap things up, and then we'll be back next week for the second round of the playoffs.